Dan Masters Live on Friday, September 25th. It's 2009, and the big news, well, it's not really big news. It's been happening for years. Mr. Wrestling 2, of course, in town for a couple of weeks, as he does each year visit, and we always get the word. And Ben Masters, my uncle, if you will. Ben Masters, I think I've got you on the line here with me.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, I'm pretty good. It's the weekend, and I understand Mr. Wrestling 2 had a successful trip over to Macon for Rampage Pro Wrestling. Some of the video footage is online, Rampage Wrestling's website. But the more important news is... What does he have left on the schedule?
Well, Richard denies the last appearance that he has on the book. He's going back Saturday to Hawaii, where he lives, by the way.
Now, that's something you and I know, but some people in the state of Georgia have been fooled lately, and that's why I got you on the line, the direct source, the booking agent, whenever he's in the United States, which is once a year. If somebody wants to book number 2, they got to go through you, Ben Masters. So, and that's not difficult to do. Your information is... how does somebody go about booking Mr. Wrestling 2, the real, original Johnny Walker?
Well, all they have to do is let me know. But the problem is that his schedule is very tedious, because he never knows until usually a week before he comes when he's going to be able to really come over. Because he likes to come and stay, like you said, a couple of weeks, and he likes to make his round. The guys that he can. He's made several appearances thus far, and then he's going back. But unfortunately, there are still people that not only tell others that they are the original Mr. Wrestling number 2, but there are some people now that are actually running for office claiming to be Mr. Wrestling number 2. And I think telling your friend or your wife or your sister is one thing, but to run for public office and to make a false claim, that makes you really wonder what's going on.
Now, I started to give you a call last Saturday when I was at a show coming back from Nashville. I stopped off with Wardell Walker in a town called Glenville, Georgia, at a show, and there was a man there, and I use that term loosely in conversation with you over the next couple of minutes, by the name of Jerry Stevens, and he wasn't very happy with me when I got there, which isn't a surprise to me because there are a lot of people out there that dislike me. But Jerry didn't want me there, and the reason why is because he said I called his house years ago and was upset that he was portraying the likes of Mr. Wrestling 2, but it was okay because he had approval from the original. Now let's talk about this guy that you say is running for public office, and we've seen flyers with his face. This guy's name is John Walker, and he lives in Plains. Do you know anything else about him?
I know he's a school teacher, and just very little bit I know. He did an interview which never was published with the Albany Herald, and the reason it wasn't published is because when he started giving out information, some of the information, even to a casual fan whose grandmother was Miss Lillian Carter, the mother, deceased mother of President Jimmy Carter. She knew a little bit about wrestling too. She knew enough about him to know that this guy did not know what he's talking about. And I have a copy of the article, and I've read it, and a lot of it straight off Wikipedia. I mean, you could go out and know all that stuff too, but a lot of stuff he doesn't know, and that's pretty obvious by his interview.
I think one thing that may help him in his stories, or lies as he's told over the years, is fraud activity, is the fact that his legit name is John Walker.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, was he born with that name, or maybe he assumed that name? I don't know what the history is. I've never met the guy, just the picture I saw of him, and I don't know if he ever even actually stepped inside of a wrestling ring. It doesn't really matter.
The
problem is that Mr. Wrestling number 2, as we know and love him, the original and the only Mr. Wrestling number 2, earned that name working very hard. And for those who were around back when he was on top, he fought very hard to protect his identity. He fought very hard to hold on to that mask, and everything that mask represented was very important to him. So it's still important today. He's no longer wrestling. He's retired. And he knows that there are crazy people out there that are going to say that they're wrestling too. There's probably 50 assassins in the world too. There's 25 spoilers, I'm sure, if you look around. But but he also knows it's wrong to run for public office and say you're somebody you're not.
Now, in Plains, Georgia, he may have the president confused. He may even have Jimmy Carter hoodwinked on this deal.
I don't know. I think if anyone's ever been face-to-face with the real Mr. Wrestling #2 and looked in his eyes and heard his voice, they know the man. You certainly would know him on the phone, just casually seeing him. But this guy, for some reason, he picked a good guy to want to be, because Wrestling 2 and Johnny Walker certainly represent all the good things you can talk about in wrestling and just as a friend. But I think he's picked the wrong guy as far as someone that's going to take him on and wouldn't mind looking in the eyes and asking a few questions.
Well, I want to send a special shout-out to Bill Eadie, who helped me stay at the show this past weekend and confirm that I was right and this Stevens was wrong. And there are guys out there, but that's one thing you and I mentioned off the air. How do you prove that you're who you are? And at this point in his career, obviously it's wrong for this guy to run for public office. I'm prepared to drive down to Plains. I was so fired up. I'm ready to print flyers and posters, lie or fraud. But, Ben, is it true this guy's also a school teacher teaching the youth of America?
That's what I hear, and I actually understand he's going to be in a play tonight in Plains, Georgia, as part of their Peanut Festival, portraying Billy Carter, who is the brother of Jimmy Carter. So that's a little ironic thing.
So he makes a living off of portraying to be other people, I guess. I sure hope that his students there at the school, and it's one thing to go in, and I hear that these guys, the fakes, go into the retirement homes and sign pictures and talk to people. That's one thing, and the kids get excited, they hear and see the stories, but he's not who he says he is.
Right. Yeah, it's unfortunate because there's elderly and nursing homes who remember Mr. Wrestling 2 and really with great favor, and they could be confused about it, and it's just not fair, it's not right, and the guy just needs to confess, and certainly if you're going to run for public office, you have to know that your life is going to be scrutinized anyway. So if you don't have any secret, there shouldn't be a politician, because they certainly are going to go in your background once you run for office.
Now, let me ask you, you speak to John quite often. What is Johnny Walker, that is? What is he planning on? How does he feel about this? What does he want to happen?
Well, he got the phone number on the guy yesterday, and he was going to try to contact him. I'm not sure if he was able to.
I'd love to hear that conversation.
That wouldn't be a good one to listen to. I'd like to be a bug in that line, but I'm sure he has some choice words to say for him if he answers the phone. And if he didn't want to do the right thing, I think John has enough people that know who he is that will interview him, that will press and media, and like I said, if somebody sees a video of him, certainly they'll know that it's him if he does an appearance in Plains and it ends up on the news.
Well, I was going to say, do I need to get in the car?
If you got the two of them in a room, both of them with masks on, what do you think would happen, and how do you think you know who the real one was?
Somebody better call the Iron Sheik, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I think even as long as Wrestling 2 is retired, I've got a feeling somebody would be limping and it wouldn't be the one we know.
Well, Ben, let's wrap it up. Anything on your end? I got to say, I heard your latest commentary. You're back on television over there in Macon. I think they may be looking for a broadcast man, and I think you'd be the perfect guy. Either way, a Masters would look good in one of those seats.
Yeah, I went over there and visited, and anytime we get the chance to go out and see new talent and see the fans that are out there now and doing that, it's just whenever they call me, I go. I'm a school teacher myself now, and that's my first priority after my family and my church. But I certainly would like to have the opportunity to keep my foot in the wrestling business, and I think I still probably have forgotten more about the business than a lot of people will ever know.
One more time. All right, Ben.
Right?
Well, that's what they say. Thanks a lot for your time on this weekend. I'm heading to the beaches here in Savannah.
10 years ago, I would have put this match. We would have been talking about a match instead of a telephone conversation.
Indeed. Well, enjoy the Byron Triangle.
Versus Matt.
Enjoy.
Referee Joe Powell.
Oh, Lord Joe Powell, that's a whole other story. Somebody better Google him. All right, Benny, let's get out of here.